You're watching The Ugly Inside. Subscribe below.
Hello, welcome back to our end of season reviews, and we're working our way through our defenders. We're here to talk about Jack Stephens, who's taken a great opportunity this season with Derek, Clive, Ewan and Chris once again. I'll start off with Derek. Jack Stephens taking his opportunity in the first team, ultimately through Virgil Van Dijk's injury.
First saw him when he came to the club as a youngster and impressed. Stood out as somebody with potential. Obviously went away on those loans, experience, etc. I think for me he's been a surprise package. Bodes well definitely for next season, and I expect him to develop into a top-class central defender.
And from what I've taken from Jack's appearances this season, he seems very composed in the football.
Yeah, I think he's got quite a mature head for his age. I mean, he's 23. I think the other day he made his 100th club appearance, which isn't bad for any footballer at that age. I think what will be the key for next season is whether he can remain composed when he's given the chance, because I'm sure a lot of us would argue if we kept Van Dijk and brought in a centre-back, even if we just kept Van Dijk, it's going to be difficult for Stephens to start. I think he's been quite composed because he's got the confidence of knowing potentially that he's going to get picked every week at the moment. I think the big test for him will be next season, when maybe he isn't first choice or second choice. Will he still be able to take chances by the scruff of the neck like he has this season?
And from what I've taken from Stephens' appearances, that there's always been a call for Caceres to start, but Jack Stephens taken a great opportunity in the squad, and next season would he have a benefit of playing alongside Virgil or alongside Yoshida carrying on into the next season?
He's had a great benefit. I mean, the experience for him has been wonderful. I think Jack himself would have not expected to have this number of games, bearing in mind we had Fonte and Virgil as first choice, and then probably Yoshi behind that. So it's been a big surprise, but he's taken it really, really well, I think, and I love the way that he steps out of defence. You can't. Experience is everything. You can't begin to, describe how valuable that is to him, especially at the Premiership level. He's played down the leagues, okay, but playing against the top strikers, he hasn't phased him one little bit. And I think that's a credit to the youth system to have him prepared for the top level.
Yeah.
As other players have come in, but very impressed with Jack. Again, I've had the pleasure of meeting him, and he's a very dedicated, level-headed lad. Decent. I see a good future for him.
I've seen a couple of comments coming across social media, Facebook, Twitter, that if Jack was playing in a top 4 team, Chelsea, United, Arsenal, he'd be rated 30-40 million already.
Yeah, Jack's had a fantastic season. He's improving with every game. He reminds me a bit with his versatility of Eric Dyer. There are certain things as a centre-back you can't buy. One of them, he's quick, and the other, he's very composed on the ball. He can pass. We saw Manchester United the other night. He was man of the match for me. Man of the match. And best performance he's put in so far. I do wonder whether he's going to be afforded that chance next season, as Chris said. I hope so. I hope maybe with the games, I know we don't like rotation, but maybe he's going to be given a chance to stay, or even go into me and Chris were saying, either go into a Championship side on loan just for the season to give him that more experience, then bring him back in.
We're going to go to a comment from Matt Markstone from the SSE Delivery Podcast. Excellent podcast, but here's his comments.
Hey guys, I'm Matt, the host of the Southampton Delivery Podcast. Thanks for having me on. I think when I think back about the season, I look at all the things that have really surprised me. It has to be the impact of some of the youth team players. And I know Sims and McQueen have come in and made contributions early on in the season, but for me, the biggest contribution has been by Jack Stephens. And I don't think any of us expected him to be able to step into a role and fill it the way he did. Coming in the wake of Fonte leaving and the Virgil Van Dijk injury, and having to step into a back line that kind of didn't have an established leader in it, I think he's done exceptionally well. And whether he's just passing the eye test and he just looks comfortable and confident on the ball, or you look at the stats and you look at his tackles and his blocks and his passing, which are all on par or better, even when you compare him to guys like Vertonghen or Alderweireld, or even Fonte or Van Dijk if you look at their stats together. So overall, I think he's done exceptionally well. Maybe the area he could improve would be his aerial duels. His percentage there is pretty low, but I think that'll come with time as he gets stronger. and grows up and matures just a bit.
So Matt goes on there as a stat man. He needs to improve on the aerial duels, but he's on par with Vertonghen this season in terms of other stats.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an area of his game he has to improve on, the aerial duels bit that we mentioned. But you mentioned with the passing stats, you can't. I think a lot of people can criticise a defender for wanting to be more of a passing defender. You look at John Stones per se, he's had quite a bit of criticism for wanting to maybe Cruyff turn around a striker and pass it rather than just hoofing it. But I think if you can have a modern centre-back who's composed enough to pass it, I think it's a skill that you can't just teach. I think you have to have confidence within yourself as well as ability just to be able to go, right, I know that I can find this pass as good as a centre mid. So I think he has done exceptionally well to be able to come in knowing maybe that he might not get the chance next season. He knows he's got to take it. I think he has done exceptionally well.
And from what I gather from this season, he's a very level-headed fella. But let's summarise things. Out of 10, Derek, how would you summarise Steven's season and out of a 10?
9. Definitely. He reads the situation. Statistics will never show how a player can read the play. He can smell the danger, puts himself into positions, even if they don't come to anything. So I think he's got the potential to be a top-class central defender.
I would like to reiterate the 9. I think the fact that he's been thrown in at the deep end and he's not just survived, he's prospered and been a very important part of the team. So very impressed. 9.
Excellent ratings. But Ewan, what do you reckon?
Same as Clive and Tony, and 9 as well. He's been fantastic, and although he's tall, but he's not strong. He's not big like Virgil. He reads the game, as Tony said so well. So 9.
Chris?
Yeah, I'm going to make it a full house and give him a 9 as well. I think you look at the pressure that's been put on him to perform. I think you can't really fault him. I think next season he's going to have to step his game up a little bit more, but I think purely this season alone, I think it's difficult to really fault the impact that he's made.
Excellent ratings all round. They're 9 out of 10s, but let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Leave us your ratings. Jack Stevens had an excellent season. Leave us your comments, leave us your likes and subscribe for more.